Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. It is time for your listener questions because it is midweek. We are almost there. If you are a football fan, we've got 5 days of football in front of us, but we've got fun Disney talk right now, and that is the most important thing. Let's talk Disney, and to do that, Pam Forrester is back. We find out that she went down to Walt Disney World because she needed a little Disney in her life. Her daughter was getting ready to go back to school. She's a school teacher, and they got to experience Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They had some great meals over at Sleepy Hollow. She gives a great review of that chicken waffle, and we talk about her experience with Country Bears. She has some thoughts over there and much more. And we get her thoughts on a few of the D23 announcements as well. Of course, lots of listener questions coming your way on today's show as well. That's what we do on Wednesdays. And I just want to thank you, as always, for your support of the show. Don't forget, we're brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are our all-stars. You make this happen. You can support us as well, just $5 a month, and you'll get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2545 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. We are back. Of course, it is time for listener questions. It is hump day. That means you have questions, we have answers, and we could talk about Walt Disney World. We could talk about Disney Cruise Line. We could talk about Disneyland, which is celebrating 70 amazing years this coming year. And we can book those packages now for Disneyland. Finally, excited for that. So we're going to have a good time today. And joining me, we have Pam Forrester. She's co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, back from Walt Disney World. That's why she wasn't here the last couple of weeks. She snuck down and has some thoughts on some cool stuff. Pam Forrester, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you back.
I am glad to be back. There's been lots of stuff that has happened since I was on. The D23 stuff, the Disney Destiny sailing November 20th, their maiden voyage. I'm really excited about that. It looks really good, doesn't it?
2025. Just so people get that right. Not this year. Just so people aren't too excited. Yeah, 2025.
No, I know. Yes, exactly.
Hold the reins there. It's got a year still. But yeah, excited for the Destiny. What's cool is, Disney Cruise Line putting that one for the 4 and 5 nighters out of Lauderdale.
I know. Well, they have that new terminal, so I think it's they want to use it. There's a lot of good things happening right now in the Disney sphere, as they say.
Is it confusing that some of us call it Lauderdale and some of us call it Port Everglades? I think we need to adopt one common name. Is it Lauderdale or is it Everglades? I like Everglades. Everglades sounds cooler.
Port itself is Port Everglades.
I know. But I mean, I think
it's
like
as a Disney the difference between Cocoa Beach and Port Canaveral.
But nobody calls it Cocoa Beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is Cocoa Beach. I mean, I do like Cocoa Beach because the astronauts and that, like, I Dream of Jeannie and stuff like that. But I mean, nobody says, I'm going to sail on the Disney Fantasy out of Cocoa Beach. Nobody says that. We're going to Canaveral. But Port Everglades sounds cooler, but I think everybody says Lauderdale. But Port Everglades is actually the correct.
It's actually Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale is the city. Port Everglades is the port.
100%. Yes.
So I'm just trying to mess with everybody. But I like Everglades. It just sounds more Florida.
Yeah, that's the port name. I mean, the port name is Everglades. It is in Fort Lauderdale, and it just I don't know, but it's a beautiful port. It's not that far from Orlando. I mean, it is far. It's not quite as far as Miami. But the good news is about Fort Lauderdale is you can fly into either Miami or Fort Lauderdale. It's just really a quick, trip from Miami up to Fort Lauderdale. Whenever we're flying or whenever we're sailing out of Miami, we fly into Fort Lauderdale typically, just because our flights are better into Lauderdale. But there's a lot of good reasons to sail out of that port. But I think the fun thing about the main voyage on the Destiny is it's going to Lookout and Castaway, which I don't know that you could ask for anything better than that, right?
I can't wait to do it this July on our podcast cruise. We're going to be sailing there, so it's going to be fun for me to check that out. And we're going to be on the Magic, so I'm super excited for that. I can't wait to see the old.
I can't wait to hear what you think about Lookout, because it's so pretty. It's really, really so pretty.
To a person, that's what everybody says. It's just gorgeous there, and it's a different experience from Castaway.
It is a different experience, and I'm really glad. I'm glad it wasn't a Castaway 2. Like a Castaway 2.0. I think that's the thing I look forward to. Like, I like the differences in each of the ships because I want that different experience, and then I can, check them out.
So real quick on the Destiny, then we're going to move on. I want to get a couple thoughts from your recent trip before we jump into listener questions. What I'm super excited about, they gave the artwork from the pub there that's Pirates themed on the Destiny. Now, I think that's a home run. Because again, nautical pirate theme, that is a perfect blending of IP and Disney Cruise Line. I mean, Pirates fits in perfectly on any Disney Cruise Line ship. You're at sea, Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, it's a part of every Disney Cruise Line sailing, really. I love the looks of this place. Like, I'm a huge fan of Keg and Compass. I'm a huge fan of O'Gill's, and this is going to be my favorite kind of, I think, even, of course, the Haunted Mansion look is going to be awesome too, but I think this one might take the cake.
I agree. So they're calling it Cask and Cannon, which I think is just a fantastic name. It's going to fit with the theming of the ship and everything else. But just from the artist rendering, this is going to be a place where I want to spend a lot of time. Pirates is consistently one of my favorite attractions at any park, because I think it really showcases what Disney does well, right? It does the ship, it does the story, it does the audio animatronic, all of that. So I don't know that there'll be audio animatronics here, but I think that there'll be lots of fun stuff there. And I think it'll just be a cool place to hang out. Just, day to day. You're going to want to go there. It's going to be a place to be. I
agree. I think it's going to fit in perfectly. Like, I think, as much as I was excited for the Hyperspace Lounge on the Disney Wish, it's a cool addition to the Wish. Don't get me wrong, but it almost feels like it doesn't fit. It's like an addition to the ship. It's there and it's cool. But it's like, here's the Star Wars thing, but how does it fit into the overall theme of a cruise ship? The Disney Wish. It's like an additional thing, which is fun. But Pirates fits into a cruise ship perfectly. You're at sea. That's where Pirates would be. It's a place that it's a natural. I think it should be, I hate to say this, but it should almost be, when I see it, it should almost be added to every ship. It just seems natural.
I agree. I think there's a couple things on this ship that sort of feel that way to me, like the piano lounge called DeVille's. That's a no-brainer, right? That was just like, the music is so much a part of those 101 Dalmatian movies, and it just is a really cool thing. So that I thought was such a great addition. Of course, the Lion King themed dining, that's going to be incredible, right? Because that show did so great, it does so well on Broadway. And then at Animal Kingdom, it's a favorite. I think it's going to translate well there. We're going to see Hercules as a Broadway show.
Yes,
I know. I'm really looking forward to that, because it's one of my favorite movies.
Never seen it. surprise. But I do remember there was a Herc show, or Herc part to, was it Villains Tonight or the Golden Mickeys? I used to love that part. That had Yzma, is that the Hercules?
Yzma is from the Emperor's New Groove.
Ah, see, but there was a Hercules part though. I remember Hercules was in it. So sorry, I crossed my streams there.
You need like a week to sit and watch all the movies. I'm just saying.
I should probably.
And Edna a la mode sweets. That's going to be great. Edna from The Incredibles, of course. And just I'm all the different stateroom theming. I don't know. I mean, we get excited about everything new that's Disney, but I'm really excited about this ship. I just think that there's so many things that people are going to relate to. I think they're sort of giving us all some things that we've been looking for. So.
All right, so we're going to get to the list of questions, and if you have them, put them in the comments. We have lots of folks tuned in over on Instagram. Dan and Kazak1623, Connie, Hannah Pro 8, E. Connell, Nikki Gilmer, Sir Bradford 70. Everybody's over there. We got folks over on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter tuning in. Happy Monday afternoon as you watch live. Thanks for being here. You have questions, comments, put them in the comments, or questions for the show. Let me ask you real quick though. You're just down at Walt Disney World. Anything you mentioned you got one of the snacks, you saw Country Bears, you did Tiana's, just real quick, because we got to get to the questions, but anything stands out in like 3 minutes or less real quick.
Yeah. So we ran down because it was right before Hannah started, back to school, before her, her classroom. She had to load in her classroom and everything. And I was like, I knew that she was just going to be at home, just thinking about what she could do, obsessing about it. I'm like, you know what, let's run down, let's go have fun. She hasn't done Tiana's yet. I wanted to see the Country Bears. I haven't had a chance to see it yet since it reopened. I saw a preview at one point, but then I got to see it, and as it stands, we tried the new waffle chicken sandwich at Sleepy Hollow. Right, I know. So first of all, I still love Tiana's, and I rode it twice in one day. We actually got a virtual queue, and then I paid for it, the Lightning Lane, and it's just fun. It's just fun. And I think that's what I really, really enjoy about it so much. I do, like, you sort of do need to know a little bit about the story if following the story is important to you. If you just want to go and ride it, you don't have to, know too much about it. You'll enjoy it either way. The Country Bears, I was worried about this one because, I am a huge Country Bears fan. I really love Big Al. I was afraid like he may not make the cut, right? I don't know.
Because there's no more blood on the saddle in this.
There's
show.
no more blood on the saddle.
Nope.
But this was really fun. The audience was super engaged. It was so funny whenever they started. So they are playing some more current songs, I will say, some more Disney inspired songs, not just inspired, Disney songs, basically. So it was so funny whenever they started the Try Everything from Zootopia. There were some little girls sitting behind us and they were like, oh, I love this song. And then they were like into it. And then the whole audience was clapping. Like when I went, the theater was packed. Like we didn't all fit in the theater. There were people there in line who did not get to go in. So it was so nice to see that for the Country Bears.
So we had a conversation over in the clubhouse, exactly that, and I'm trying to find it. So let me ask you this while I'm looking for it, because the conversation was Deanna and somebody else was having this conversation back and forth, and they were mentioning how they're more of a purist with the Country Bears, right? This is why I love our clubhouse, because we have these conversations 24/7 about all these things, these nuances to visits. And they were saying how maybe they're more of a fan of the old Country Bears because the humor was kind of more their old school style. But they said exactly what you just said, that when they used to go into the Country Bears, the crowds were a little more sparse. On this on this viewing, they went in there and there were, but this viewing they were in there, it was packed, and the younger crowd was singing along, and like
it was more
interactive. And they think that this update may ensure that these bears, even though the experience is different and that this person might not have had that same experience and that they had that same kind of feel that they had maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago in their heart, that maybe this ensures that the country bears are still in the theme parks 10 years from now, where if they would have kept it where it was, they could have been yanked at any point. So maybe this is a connection with the next generation, that it's not the same, but it ensures their survival.
I think it saved the country bears in so many ways. I think things like this often do save an attraction. Because I will tell you, the last couple times I was in the country bears, when the cast member is like clap along, I felt like he was like looking at me because I was one of like 7 people in the theater. You know what I mean? Like, clap along, ma'am, in the 5th row right there. Like it was very sparse. And no, they did like these songs that people knew and were singing along with them. And I understand being a purist, and I think I've definitely been going to the parks for long enough that I feel there's a part of me that's a purist. But more than anything else, I want people to connect with these attractions because I want them there in some form. And I think I think that's a great point. I think it absolutely sort of ensures that, makes that happen. And I will say a little spoiler here, but not much of a spoiler. Big Al, still there, and still does some of his signature moves. So,
That's good. I mean, because Big Al's the boy. Okay, so let me just say, because Andrea Gartland, one of our listeners from way back, a lizard and just sweet as pie, awesome. And it is what I love about our community. Everybody has great discussions. And let me just read these 2 comments from Andrea Gartland and Slick Willie 27 over in the clubhouse, which, by the way, I love a username called Slick Willie 27. That's pretty sweet. Andrea says, and we had a show, you weren't here, but we did a show called the Disney Stock Watch, the Disney theme park stock watch, where you had to buy stock. Either stock's going up or stock's going down in certain experiences around Walt Disney World. So here's what she says. For the stock discussion, I would like to say stock is down on Country Bear Jamboree. Let's see, I use that little sound effect. The reason for my opinion is that the new show is lacking humor. For an attraction that was known as Walt's Last Laugh, I was disappointed. With the original, I laughed and had a smile on my face throughout the show. With the new show, I laughed once near the beginning and smiled when I thought something from the previous experience was about to occur. I would not say the new show is terrible, and I think everyone should watch it and judge it for themselves. I hope others enjoy it, even though it fell flat for me. Okay, so that's what Andrea said. Now, Slick Willie comes back and says, Andrea, I don't disagree. I loved the original before it was cut down and shortened. But here's the thing I noticed. It wasn't necessarily for me. The 2 showings I saw were more full than any other of the previous showings I had been in for many years prior to this refurbishment. With a lot of the singing along and clapping, families with younger kids very clearly enjoyed it. So if this is the way for me to keep seeing the attraction, I say it's better than not having them at all. If this iteration means we get the bears, and let's face it, Melvin, Buff, and Max, then I'm in. Maybe another generation will grab onto it, and it'll be around even longer. Don't know, but buy low. Stock up. So there you go. So I mean, it's a fair discussion, right? Not every attraction will be for everybody, and not every iteration of that attraction will be for everybody, because that's totally me too. Yeah, I love the conversation though. Okay. So let's get to the questions.
Wait, let me talk. I want to talk about your waffle thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dude, I was trying to avoid it because I'm starving, but go ahead.
No. So we went in, and I know there's been lots of talk about like the waffles. It has changed from the regular waffles to a Mickey waffle, but the chicken is back, and it was gone for a little bit. So that's good. And I will say, I did Tiana's the Country Bear, and then we had this Mickey waffle all within this really short period of time. And I felt like I was winning the day because I think I like this better than the original. Truly. There was something about the waffle, like the flavor of it was really good. Like it had that good Mickey waffle flavor. The chicken was good. Now they call it like sweet and spicy or something. There's no spicy, but
they used to call it that. They called it that back in the day too. It was never spicy because I don't really like super spicy. I can't like. Paige eats like Diablo fire stuff, and I'm like, dude, why do you do that? Like, no, but I can't do spicy, and that was never spicy. Yeah.
I know, but it was good. Like it sort of tasted like honey chicken or something. It was actually really good. We, like a bunch of us tried it. We all liked it. It was a fair amount of chicken too that was on that waffle. I think two people could probably split it if you're doing a lunch, or you know what I mean, the whole thing. So I liked it. I think you should give it a try. And what I like more than anything is mobile ordering at Sleepy Hollow. And why do people not mobile order? What is happening there? Because the line was huge. We mobile ordered, picked ours up, sat down.
Mobile orders is a cheat code. I mean, I love it. I love it. It's a legal cheat code.
Are people afraid of it, or I don't know what's happening? I hope it continues. I hope people continue to be afraid of it. But if you're listening to our show, mobile order.
I mean, everybody does here. This is what separates us from the norms.
Yes.
we
spend an hour less in line.
We should have like a shirt that just says "I mobile order," and you
right,
don't, and you don't. Sorry, not sorry. That's exactly
I know. So, anyways, yes, those are my my little thoughts. We did a bunch of other stuff too, but there was definitely some pool time, and I needed the pool time. It was good because it was hot. But yes, it was all good. The quick trips, I think, are like almost sweeter because you're there for something specific. You're going to go do it. And you sort of savor those moments, I think. So I was glad we did it.
Oh, I wish I was. And by the way, this is for Mercury Waxing. Says, but what did you think? Quit waffling. And this is for him. There you go. Rim shot. Okay. And, so Francois has a start bench or a cut for us. So you got a start bench or cut one.
Okay.
Best sweet bite at Walt Disney World, tie-dye cheesecake, Pop Century, beignets from French Quarter, the No Way Jose from Beaches and Cream. So we're going to do this right now real quick. So let's go with this. Pam, I'll let you ladies first. Again, these could change at any day. But again, I don't know if you've been watching over my shoulder, the temperature here outside the studios. I believe it says 98 on my toolbar outside right now. As I look down, I don't know what it's saying outside. It's probably 98 there too. It is smoking in the Be Our Guest podcast outside studios. So you know where I'm going.
I know you're not going to be happy with my my cut.
No, because I'm cutting it today too because it's so hot.
It's tie-dye cheesecake. It's getting cut for me. To bench, I'll have to do the beignets, and the start is going to be the No Way Jose, which has been the No Way Jose. But that has been my family's starter for a long time.
I'm right with you. You just nailed it 100%. So I'm going with that too. So just to say it, they have non-dairy ice cream options at Beaches and Cream. It's usually just one option. It's usually a vanilla, but you can do like a No Way Jose with the non-dairy ice cream. So bring on all the dairy.
I know. Dairy is not my friend. So.
Okay. I mean, either way. Yeah. So, I mean, it's so hot here, dude. Bring on all the peanut butter, all the ice cream, all the syrup. I'm starting and giving an all-star nod, a possible Heisman Trophy bid to the No Way Jose. I'm going to put right there next to me, sitting on my bench, the beignet from French Quarter with possibly a glass of milk next to it. And sorry, your DFA'd tie-dye cheesecake for now. I'll catch you maybe in the spring. You're out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
And those beignets you can get with the little shot of liquor.
See, that's performance enhancing drugs is what that is. And
yes.
Then you're talking about it's illegal, but I mean it's the SEC here in this part of the country, and if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So
you only live once.
You do only live once. I mean, exactly. Okay, Mohawk, Scotland, our friend over obviously in Europe. Do you think that Tom Sawyer Island will still be around for us to enjoy? He's gotten down to his trip over in the clubhouse in October of 2025. Will he still be able to ride the beautiful Liberty Bell riverboat? What do you think,
I don't
Pam?
know. We haven't heard when this is going to happen. And I've read lots of interesting articles on it from a few different perspectives, one of them being the operational issues apparently that are caused because of water issues, the water in the park, whatnot. But I will tell you this too. Every new space that Disney makes, they tend to add some water elements in it. So I don't know that we'll see that. I do not feel like this new area will be devoid of
No,
water.
I don't think so either,
Um,
because I think it's not going to be Radiator Springs. Let me get that out of my,
right.
but
No,
this,
it's not.
this Cars area, it has to have, I mean, the West is known for, I mean, it's got the Colorado River, it's got the Snake River. I mean, when you think of the Western United States, it's known for rivers and waterfalls, and there's
Yeah.
always water in these areas. It's not just deserts. So there is going to be water. It's just going to be different than the rivers of America, I would imagine. And so you're going to have water. It's just going to be reformed. Now, here's the thing. I think Disney has to be semi-aggressive on this. In October of 2025, considering we're sitting in August of
I
2024,
know.
I think dirt's going to be moving in an aggressive way by October of 2025. So I do think that, yes, there will be walls up by then, and Tom Sawyer Island will be unobtainable by then. If I had to put money on it one way or the other, I would say it'll be a goner by then.
I lean toward that as well. I think, Josh was very direct when he said that these are projects that are down the, like, that they've already started the process of getting ready to do these. These weren't all like blue sky, possibly could happen things. These were things that we're going to see. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I also, it's a huge amount of land that Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island takes up. And I think that there is going to be something maybe that more people can enjoy, and more will take more people from the other attractions too. I think that that's something that they think about too. So to kind of spread people out a little bit.
The thing is, I mean, and here's the whole thing with this, right? The more you think about it, like it was an emotional gut punch at first, because you got the good news. Like I've told you, Cars Land at Disneyland it's my favorite land of any land at any Disney park that I've been to. And I was late to getting to see Cars Land. It was July of 22 when I first experienced it. And when I walked in there at night, I was like, holy cow. Like, this is a game changer. Like, it is like because I do like that movie. I don't see a lot of movies, but I've seen Cars many times, and it was like being in the movie. I mean,
It's
it was
like you walked into the movie.
It was. I mean, and it's an animated movie, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
it was like the neon and the car. I mean, because you got Mater rolling down the road, you got Lightning McQueen rolling down the road. He's talking to you. You got the cozy cone. I mean, the environment there, and then Radiator Springs Racers is such a great attraction. Then you got the minor attractions that are like perfect minor attractions. Like the little Luigi's, like the little cars dancing together, and like all the locals know that you raise your hands, and then they all do the thing at the end. And like I got in on it, and I felt like I was a local there when I knew. Like Scott's like, dude, you got to raise your hand at the end. I was like, oh yeah. And then you got Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. That's just everybody's cracking up at that. Like it's like a little perfect little land. Like it's just it's perfect. And so I get like the thing was so. But I love the beauty of Tom Sawyer Island and the discoverability of like, that's like 1950s play. Like go into a cave. Maybe you'll get lost. Maybe you won't. Go into a fort, pretend like you're shooting, down at, that's not really acceptable anymore, but it's like a time gone by, you can't get that anymore. The thing is, like, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And my Six Flags had a fort just like that. That fort was long gone. Like it's because they turned it into like Looney Tunes land. And then they mowed that over to put in a roller coaster. So Six Flags got rid of that land because it wasn't revenue generating eons ago. Like they did this a long time ago because it wasn't making money. Disney's going to do this. And I totally get why they're doing it. When you think about the logic that, it's hard for people with disabilities to get over there. Like, you got to take a raft. I mean, it closes early. I mean, there's so many reasons as to why it makes sense, but there's also the aesthetics of it. The river's so beautiful. The Liberty Bell is amazing. It gives kids a chance to experience a piece of history. I mean, but you got it, it's like It's like what I taught my kids in 6th grade, right? It's one of those things you make a T-chart, pros, cons. You do a Venn diagram, put them into 2 circles. Where do they intersect? And I mean, there was probably tons of that going on at Disney, but I guess times change. You just have to embrace it is going to be what it is, and just enjoy the new and hold on to the memories. You got to experience it for decades, a lot of us, and be thankful for what we got to do. We got to be on Tom Sawyer Island for a long time.
I agree. And it is, again, I know every time we talk about an experience that's going away, we would be remiss if we didn't also point out that there weren't that many people experiencing it. There just weren't. There aren't that many boats, rafts going over. And like you said about the accessibility of it, you and I have both been on rafts that you're like, we're going under here because the water
For real.
like splooshing up.
I'm glad I can swim, and I hope there's no gators in there. Yes,
I know, right? I'm like, pull out your lifeguard training because we may need it today.
For real.
No, but yeah, it just is not. But I understand, like, the nostalgia of it and the wanting to experience that. And I think what we just have to hope for is that whatever it is replaced with, we want to experience just as much.
And I know I will. I mean, I know I will, because the Imagineers.
I'm already there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, it looks amazing. And then you got villains. I mean, that'll be cool too. So we're going to be really, we got tons of time to talk about all this. Okay. Next question is from Ashley over in the inbox. Says, hey, Mike and BOGP crew. My family's going to Disney World for the first time. I love first timers, and I love this question.
Me too.
In September of 2025. Thanks, Mike, for helping us book it. So thank you for supporting us. We appreciate that so very much. It's a year away, I know, but I'm already in planning mode since that is half the fun. It's actually 72% of the fun, but we'll let you go, Ashley. I'm curious. Well, at least at this point, once you get there, then 72% of the fun's the trip. But well, for right now, it's 72. I'm curious what each of you feel are the pros and cons of going to Walt Disney World in late September. I'd love to hear your thoughts so we can adjust our expectations accordingly. Thanks in advance, Ashley. She sent it from an iPhone. She didn't say where she's from, but she's from an iPhone. Pam, tell her about late September, some benefits.
I think there are a ton of benefits for being in late September. First of all, they're going to have the fall decorations up in the Magic Kingdom. And I think the fall decorations are really spectacular. I will say the holiday ones, the Christmas holiday ones are my favorites, but the fall is so, so cool. Just those wreaths with the Mickey pumpkins, boom. That to me is that's really worth seeing. You also have the option of going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party if those dates are still available for when you will be there. I think that that's a really cool thing to do as well. I also think that there in the fall, in the evening, it starts to cool off a little. Most of the time, I will not stake any kind of guarantee on that, but you feel it start to cool off as the sun goes down, which is really nice to see that. It makes sort of the evening activities more enjoyable. And I love that. I'm trying to think what else. I think that it's not as busy during that time because you have kids that are back in school, and a lot of people don't want to take their kids out of school right then. So you get the benefit of that as well. You're also going to see some fall treats that are going to be exclusive to that time of year. We've talked about this before, but Disney World has been getting better and better at bringing these sort of seasonal treats to us. There's more than just cupcakes. There's unique kind of food items that you're going to be able to have during this time of year. So I think there's a lot of reasons to go in the fall. What are some of your favorite, Mike?
Well, so, I mean, obviously you got Food and Wine Festival happening over at Epcot. So you will have the opportunity to sample your way around World Showcase. They bring in more of that stuff up to World Discovery, World Celebrate, Future World. Can we just call it Future World, the front half of the park? I mean, it's going to be throughout the park. You can sample that. Plus, what I think this is always undersold during these. And actually, again, I hate to toot my own horn here, but Toot the Clubhouse is awesome. We had a guest just come back and give like a 12-point bulleted list, which I need to share. Maybe we'll share that on Friday. Just thoughts, because right now we're in this. I hate to say it, but we're in this weird time where there's no festival going on at Epcot. And he said, Epcot's made for festivals. Like, it was weird. Like, he prefers it. So for so long, people said, could we just have Epcot without a festival? And he got back, and we're hearing this more and more, that like Epcot needs to have a festival. Like, it feels strange to not have a festival going on at Epcot. People say there should be a festival going on every day at Epcot. And I think we're hearing this more and more. Like, now that we've had what some people call Diet Epcot, like without a festival going on. Anyway, but when you got Food and Wine going on, besides the opportunity to supplement with these, different snacks and beverages and all these things, besides the traditional dining you get over there, what I love, and, I just like to happen upon the American Gardens Theater. And, maybe you're in Japan and you hear, and you're like, dude, what's going on over in the theater? And you just happen to roll by. You might have a margarita in your hand from Mexico, and you can just hop into the theater. Maybe you'll see like a cover band. Maybe you might see Boys to Men. I mean, during Food and Wine, they're the real deal. It's not the cover bands. It's like, it could be, I'm trying, Boys to Men plays during Food and Wine sometimes. Here's some other people like Sugar Ray. I mean, there's some, they're not like, it's not gonna be Taylor Swift or anything, but I mean, you're gonna get some good acts. I think that's included. I think that's one of the cool things that's included with your park admission. You don't have to like do any other haggling. You don't have to buy anything extra. You can just sit down, and they usually play 3 or 4 sets, during the evening. So you can just kind of swing in there, watch 30 minutes of music and have a drink, have a snack. And we don't talk about that very much, but I think that adds a lot to your day.
I agree. I think just walking when I can hear the music, I like it.
I'm drawn to it I'm drawn to it like a moth to a flame. I love it because how often do you get to go? When I was younger, I didn't care, but I think as I get older, it just like sucks me in like a vacuum. Boom.
It does. And it's nice to just hear, I think, like in the background, like there's always these fantastic background loops wherever you are in Disney World, right? But there's something about this music too that sort of brings you into, and I really like that, especially at the Regal Eagle, the outside seating there, you can sit there, and while you can't actually see what's going on in the theater, you can hear it, and you sort of feel a part of that. So I think that's a big bonus too.
The con for September, the biggest one is obviously, you mentioned it, the heat. It can be hot. It can be really humid. You got to watch tropical storms. But the thing is, here's the deal. You can't worry about that. I mean, it's going to happen or it's not. And just like, so you're hearing this on Wednesday. Tomorrow, if you listen to the replay of Sunday night's call-in show, Julie from Scotland, our good friend, stayed up very late because she had a bank holiday the next day, which was awesome. And she gave us her trip report. She had to be down there during Tropical Storm Debbie. This summer was passing by. And she was awesome. Like, her family was there. They were there for a couple of weeks because they came over from Europe. They threw on the ponchos. They had Epcot to themselves. You know what? What was Little Rain among friends? They had Tusker House to themselves. And we joked about, Donald, there were so few people in Tusker House that day. Donald Duck was spoon feeding her macaroni and cheese. I mean, it was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, turn a bad situation into an opportunity. It wasn't ideal for that like one day, but they didn't hunker down in the room. It was raining. You know what? You get wet in the shower, throw out a poncho, go out and just do everything with no weights. And that's what they did. They got some great pictures. They had the wonderful time. They had soggy feet, but who cares? They had one of the days they'll never forget. So
it's true. And I so often, like, I hear this quote, it's something that's repeated by many, but your best memories, you usually don't have your best memories of things that went absolutely right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely how you had
It's
planned
boring.
them.
It's expected.
Right. Your best memories are when things went a little off. And I think that the attitude about that is really what's so important, is like, you can embrace it. And even if what you do is choose to stay in the room on a day like that, maybe what you experience is like you play some really cool games with your family and like do things like that, or you went to a really nice meal that you wouldn't have done otherwise because you're like, well, you know what, we're just hanging out here, or why don't we go have like a great meal for lunch today? Or there's so many different things. And I look back on so many of my trips, and it's really when things didn't really go the way I was thinking that they would go, that we just made some really awesome memories. So
I agree. I mean, still to this day, being there during Hurricane Charlie, still one of my craziest memories. I mean, best trips, 2004. God, 20 years ago this month. Actually, it was 20 years ago, just a couple, like last week. God, I'm so old. 20 years ago, Pam Forrester, 20 years ago. It was when Pop Century was really young because it ripped a lot of the trees right out of the ground because they were just planted. We got up in the morning, they're just right out of the ground because the Category 2 hurricane when it went over the resort. It was wild.
That's
Man,
crazy.
I'm a weather nut, so it was like a dream come true. Hey, Pixie. Hey, Tinkerbell, what's going on? Okay, last question of the day. Let's get to Corinne here. Hey, Mike, there have been so many announcements about things leaving the parks to make way for new lands, areas, rides that I haven't been able to wrap my head around. When is the best time to visit? When's that going to be before things are no longer accessible? Your thoughts? My college kids want one last visit before the changes. We're a family of 6 and have stayed at the suites at Music, but want to be on the Skyliner for the most park efficiency, so a suite at Pop or Art of Animation or 2 rooms at Caribbean Beach would work for us. Not sure about the deluxes unless there's an outrageous deal to be had. Let's see here. She's just asking for when the best time would be and where they would stay. So she's not really, so the room I would maybe look at an Art of Animation family suite, or I like the 2 rooms at Caribbean Beach, especially with college kids, because college kids, they don't get a connecting room. I'm just saying, honestly, don't get a connector, get an adjoining room. And just real quick, vocabulary lesson from Mr. Rallman's classroom. Connecting room means there's a door between the 2 rooms. Adjoining means they are next door to each other, but there's no door between them. That's your vocabulary lesson.
That's exactly right.
Because it's misused all the time.
I know it does. It is like, I think too with college. Yes. With college kids, maybe I do want to.
Or maybe just have them in a different building. Yeah. But Jamaica and Aruba, they're college kids. Who cares? Maybe have your Caribbean Beach, they're at Pop Century. I'm just saying.
Right.
And you're at Caribbean
both
Beach.
on the line.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't think that through. You don't want them adjoining. No. You don't even want them at the same resort. No, just kidding.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, I think too, there's just, I think there's a lot to be said. Both of your choices have 2 bathrooms, which I think is really important for like family togetherness. I will say, don't you think? I mean,
yeah, I would get the 2 rooms wherever. I mean, it's fine. But as far as best time to go, I think that's one of those things. This is going to be something you work out with your family because, again, like we said earlier in the podcast, I think Disney's going to be rather aggressive on this because the reputation's on the line. They cannot drag their feet. They have to physically show progress. Like, they can't this time do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. They almost have to have walls up in certain places where bloggers will be posting this on social media because, again, this is not a direct response to Universal, but it is, because Universal's posting all this stuff, new hotel opening, this park's going to be opening very soon. And so they have to show that they're doing something as well to show that, hey, we're trying to woo you to come, to the Magic Kingdom, to come, to all of these parks, over to Animal Kingdom to see what we're doing with the Dino Land replacement, to entice you to go there. And the way they're going to do that is to show, there's mountains of dirt moving because once we start moving this dirt, that's one day closer to this project being completed, that you get to have this new restaurant to dine in, this new attraction to experience, this new thematic area to be under these cool trees and to see this nighttime parade. And I mean, all this cool stuff's going to happen, but we have to get there. It's a linear sequence. Like, you got to do these things before we get to the final product, but we got to see progress, and that's got to happen soon. So I would say as soon as your kids, and it's hard with kids in college, as soon as they get a break, go for it ASAP. I would do it sooner rather than later.
There's no time like the present. But like, I would not delay on it either. And I think too, the other thing to note is that even when Disney's doing construction, it is rarely so impactful that it impacts other attractions in that space. Like, even when all that was going on at Epcot, we still could walk around and get to all the attractions that were open. And that was probably one of the more major construction projects that we have seen in quite some time. So don't despair in that space either.
Yeah. And the thing is, I encourage everybody to do this because I think there's a lot of folks that are just like you and I. And, I tend to be super nostalgic. I mean, if you're on the Clubhouse, you know that I have that little channel way down at the bottom. It's called Mike's Favorite Things. And I listen to lots of retro podcasts. I listen to like stuff that covers old video games. Today I posted an ad from like the 70s of old like back to school lunchboxes by Thermos. I love that stuff. Old 80s video, I love that stuff. But I think if you are nostalgic, I think you would regret maybe not going to Tom Sawyer Island one last time or riding the Liberty Bell one last time if you get the opportunity. I mean, of course, a lot of times you have a job and you can't get off work. There are circumstances that could keep you from getting down there for that one last trip. But I think the window is still open where you will have probably, I would guess 6 months maybe to get these things done, maybe to next spring. And if you can swing it, I don't think you would regret the chance to get down there and do these things one last time. Take the pictures. I mean, because the thing is, Pam, when we were growing up, there was a cost for every time you clicked the camera, right? With your film you're developing.
Yes.
I mean, right now you could take, 10,000 pictures for no cost. I mean, you just back them up on Google. It's amazing to have those memories forever. You could crop them. You can do montage. I mean, you can do so much with digital video, digital photography, and you have those memories forever and you just have them and they're in your heart too. So, I would say if you get the opportunity and you are a nostalgic person, take that one more trip. And because I think that gives you the chance to say goodbye. I think the worst thing is when something's yanked for you and you didn't get to have that one last ride. I think that's kind of the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I've never regretted a last minute trip, I will say. And I've convinced my husband to take a last minute trip many a time. I'm like, you know what, we have a long weekend, or we have this, or you know what I mean? We just to take advantage of it. And I've never regretted it. It's those memories. I would rather do that than just spend money on just about anything else is a trip. So
we're up to 99 degrees here. So no way, Jose.
Wow.
Correct choice. As you can see over my shoulder, smoking hot. I know, because right in time for football season to start in 3 days here outside. It was in the 70s like 2 weeks ago. What is wrong? I knew this would happen. So we'll be sweating it out in the H on Thursday. Anyway, We are getting out of here, but the good news is we're going to be back tomorrow with our replay from Sunday night's live call-in show. Then Friday, Ricky joins us, and we have more fun Disney talk headed your way. But as always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for taking the time to hang with us here on a Wednesday, and always sending in your questions. You have a question you want to be on the show, send that to Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. We'll get that right here in the queue. So, you have some thoughts, you have a question, comments, again, Mike at beourguestpodcast.com, and we'll take care of that for you right away. Don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland 2025. We can do that now. I've been booking Disneyland packages all day long. I'm staying at the Hojo in January. Excited for that. Book somebody at the Disneyland Hotel today, Pixar Place Hotel. They're going to be eating at the Great Maple. So excited for them.
It's good.
Joe Gardner's going to be playing him into the lobby. Hey, you want to do that? Let's take care of it right now. Come over to themagicforless.com. We'll put a gift card in your little pocket there to help take care of those waffles or biscuits, whatever you want to get. And we'll just give you first-class service as well. How much does that cost? You asked Mike Rollman. No cost to you. So check it out today over at themagicforless.com. Cruising with Disney Cruise Line? How about an onboard credit? How much does that cost? No additional cost to you as well. Can't beat that. My grandma would say with the stick. That's what she used to say, because she used to give us switches for Christmas, but that was a whole nother story. Anyway, magicforless.com. We want to help you plan a great Disney vacation. Check them out today. We're going to be standing by. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon, and please become a patron this week. That's really supports us. $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month. It's actually probably cheaper than the coffee Mallory gets at Starbucks. I'm not even going to go into that. She's got a habit. She got a job. I think she's negative in how much she spends and how much she makes, because she's always going there. And I don't know how that works. I'm like, Mallory, knock it off. But whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about supporting our show. I can't even help my daughter. She's 16. But If you want to keep us on the air, that really does help us. $5 a month is all it is. And you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over to patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. We'll have the live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. I know it's a holiday weekend, but I'll be here and taking your calls. So join me for that. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. And give us a follow on the social media at TMFLT Pam for Pam, at BeOurGuest Mike for myself. And join us in the clubhouse over at BeOurGuestPodcast.com/clubhouse. All right, we're going to get out of here, and we'll be back with you again on Friday. So for Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.